Hello and welcome. So today let's talk about improving diagnosis accuracy by correlating ultrasound findings with patient clinical history. So this is a practical guide for every sonographer and ultrasound practitioner. Our introduction. So improving diagnosis accuracy by correlating ultrasound findings with the patient clinical history. So the key message, ultrasound should never be interpreted in isolation. The patient history often determines whether an ultrasound finding is normal, abnormal, or incidental, or life-threatening. So the objectives of this presentation, by the end of this presentation, participants should be able to appreciate the importance of clinical history, recognize history that changes ultrasound interpretation, improve diagnostic confidence, and avoid common diagnostic pitfalls, produce clinically useful reports, and communicate effectively with referring clinicians. So why clinical history matters? Why does it matter in the first place? Why should we bother ourselves when doing ultrasound? Why should we bother ourselves with clinical history? Ultrasound is highly operator dependent. The image alone does not provide the diagnosis. The diagnosis is reached by combining the clinical symptoms, the medical history, the physical examination, laboratory results, and the ultrasound findings. So the formula that we use is clinical history plus ultrasound plus laboratory findings is equal to better diagnosis. So this is an equation. This is a formula that you must master. Clinical history plus ultrasound plus laboratory findings is equivalent to the final diagnosis. So now, the three pillars of diagnosis, what are they? Patient, the history, ultrasound, clinical correlation, and then the final diagnosis. A beautiful scan interpreted without history may still lead us to a wrong diagnosis. Even if we have got a very beautiful ultrasound scan interpreted without history, it might lead us to a misdiagnosis. So the patient, the history, the ultrasound, clinical correlation, and then the final diagnosis followed. So what clinical information should every sonographer collect? The general information, the age of the patient, the sex of the patient, the occupation of the patient, the weight of the patient, the height of the patient. These influence expected pathology, disease prevalence, technical scanning difficulty. Example, a 19-year-old with pelvic pain has a very differential diagnosis from a 72-year-old with the same pelvic pain. Get that right. So, presenting complaint. Always ask what brings you here today. Examples: pain, bleeding, swelling, lump, infertility, amenorrhea, the trauma, fever. Never rely on the request form. Never, never, never. Patients often reveal important additional information when you're doing the sonar. Pain history. Ask where did it start, constant or intermittent, the severity of the pain, radiation, relation to meals, relation to menstruation, relation to pregnancy, pain location, directive scan. So example, right upper quadrant pain, possible diagnosis, gallstones, acute cholecystitis, liver abscess, hepatitis, kidney pathology. The same liver lesion means different things depending on symptoms. The same liver lesion means different things depending on the symptoms. So, the previous medical history, always ask about diabetes, hypertension, cancer, liver disease, kidney disease, thyroid disease, HIV, tuberculosis, past disease often predicts current findings. So, the previous surgery, critical questions: previous cesarean section, hysterectomy, cholecystectomy, appendectomy, myomectomy, thyroid surgery. So initially, I was very stupid. I wrote a report where I was saying that the gallbladder was very normal. You know, when you're using the reports, the templates don't edit. Yet the patient had a cholecystectomy 3 years back. It was very embarrassing of me. So you must always ask the history of all those previous surgical history, if all those organs are there or they were removed. Otherwise, you're embarrassed to say that the uterus is normal when a hysterectomy was done or cholecystectomy was done. Example, scale endometriosis is possible to suspect without history. Scale is impossible to suspect without surgical history. You understand this? So it is very difficult for you to think of scale endometriosis if you don't have the history. So obstetric history, for a pregnant patient, ask the LLP, gravidity, the parent, previous miscarriage, previous ectopic pregnancy, IVF pregnancy, previous cesarean section. These dramatically influence interpretation. So the example, positive pregnancy test, ultrasound, no intrauterine pregnancy, without history, pregnancy of unknown location, with the previous ectopic pregnancy, very high suspicion for recurrent ectopic. So the menstrual history, you must always document the LMP, cycle length, regularity, menopause. These changes endometrial interpretation. Example, endometrial measured in 12 millimeters, normal in secretory phase, abnormal in post-menopausal bleeding. So the medication history, important medications like tamoxifen, oral contraceptives, hormone replacement therapy, anticoagulants, fertility drugs. These explain many ultrasound findings. So the laboratory correlation, combine ultrasound with beta HCG, PSA, liver function test, CRP, WBC, creatinine, AFP, CA125. Ultrasound alone rarely provides the full picture. So now, the clinical correlation obstetrics, history determines interpretation. Example, positive pregnancy test, pain, raises suspicion for miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, molar pregnancy. So if someone comes with pain, then they've got a positive pregnancy test. This raises suspicion for miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, molar pregnancy. Else, if there's no pregnancy positive test, it could be PID or some other pelvic lesions, abscesses, for instance. So, the clinical correlation in gynecology, the history, heavy menstrual bleeding, ultrasound, fibroids, the diagnosis, symptomatic fibroids. So, history, infertility, ultrasound, hydrosalpinx, possible tubal infertility. So, history, postmenopausal bleeding, ultrasound, endometrium, that is 10 millimeters, possible, that's highly suspicious of endometrial cancer. Clinical correlation, abdomen. So patient with fever, ultrasound, hypoechoic liver lesion, possible diagnosis, liver abscess. Patient without symptoms, same lesion, possible hemangioma. Clinical history changes everything. So clinical correlation in breast, patient age 24, oval lesion, parallel orientation, likely a fibroadenoma. Patient age 68, same lesion, needs greater suspicion, age changes interpretation. Thyroid ultrasound, neck swelling, ultrasound, mouth nodular goiter, history, hyperthyroidism management changes. Because now history, there's hyperthyroidism, then management will change. If unlike if it's just a goiter without hyperthyroidism. Doppler findings require clinical context. Absent ovarian blood flow, history, sudden severe pain, so it could be ovarian torsion. Absent flow, large postmenopausal ovary, possible necrotic tumor, differential diagnosis. So the common mistakes that are made: ignoring the history, scanning too quickly, reporting incidental findings only, missing symptoms, not asking about previous surgery, ignoring laboratory findings, failing to communicate urgent findings. So the case study 1, clinical history, 28 years, pain, positive pregnancy test, previous ectopic, ultrasound, empty uterus as you can see there, adnexial mass as you can see there, free fluid, diagnosis. This is suspected of a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. Without history, the diagnosis may be delayed. So case 2, history, heavy menstrual bleeding, ultrasound, large fibroid, hemoglobin 6 grams per dl, diagnosis, symptomatic fibroid causing severe anemia, requires urgent management. Case number 3, history, fever, right upper quadrant pain, elevated WBC, ultrasound, complex liver lesion, diagnosis, pyogenic liver abscess, not a hemangioma. Not a hemangioma. So, communication with referring clinicians. Always communicate urgently when findings suggest a ruptured ectopic pregnancy, ovarian torsion, placenta abruption, deep vein thrombosis, abdominal aortic aneurysms, testicular torsion, appendicitis. Good communication always saves lives. So the structured reporting. An ideal report contains clinical history, pelvic pain, and positive pregnancy test. The findings, detailed ultrasound observations, impression, highly suspicious for ruptured tuboectopic pregnancy. Recommendation, urgent gynecology review is advised. So the tips for better diagnostic accuracy: read the request form carefully, speak with the patient, review previous imaging, compare laboratory results, scan systematically, correlate symptoms findings, avoid premature conclusions, and discuss difficult cases. The diagnostic pills. These are the diagnostic pills. Treat the patient, not just the image. So you're dealing with the patient, not just the image. A perfect image without history can mislead. A modest image with excellent clinical correlation often leads to the correct diagnosis. Ultrasound is both an imaging science and a clinical art. Take note of that. Ultrasound is both an imaging science and a clinical art. So the final summary: clinical history transforms ultrasound from a descriptive imaging tool into a powerful diagnostic instrument. By integrating patient symptoms, past medical and surgical history, laboratory data, and image findings, sonographers and clinicians can reduce diagnostic errors, improve report quality, prioritize urgent conditions, and enhance patient outcomes. The most valuable ultrasound examination is not necessarily the one with the clearest images. It is the one interpreted within the correct clinical context. So the key take-home messages to you, ladies and gentlemen: always obtain a focused clinical history before scanning. Tailor your examination based on the patient's symptoms and risk factors. Correlate ultrasound findings with laboratory and clinical information. Recognize when similar ultrasound appearances have different meanings depending on the patient's history, communicate agent findings promptly, and provide clinical relevant recommendations. High quality ultrasound practice combines technical skill with sound clinical reasoning. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the message is so clear to all of you. Some, they think that ultrasound is only about images and their interpretation, but there is something that is beyond the images, the history of the patient, the communication that we have with the patient. At times, the patient is not so free to talk to the referring clinician. They can be free to give you more information to you that they didn't provide to the referring clinician that can help narrow down the diagnosis. Thank you so much. Don't forget to comment, share, and like. And also, if you've got questions, feel free. You can ask anything in the comment section. Then I'll assist you accordingly. Thank you so much.